Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. Now that's been a very long time since I've said that. I think it's getting close to about 10 months since my last video, and my last video was a little bit daunting. It was telling all of my friends, subscribers and viewers where I was and that I had a few health issues which didn't look too promising, to say the least. Well, time has gone on. I've had a lot of procedures, a lot of help, and a lot of medical intervention. And I would just like to let everybody know things are looking slightly better than they were before. I won't go into great detail about all of the intervention I've had, but I've had 10 months of quite extensive hospital, medical, and various treatments. Now, if you followed me previously and my ration making reviews and my other videos that I made, I did explain that I was going to have to stop making these videos because of my rather dire looking prognosis and outlook. I'm going to go back just to refresh people's memories and just give you, those new viewers, a little bit of background, and then I'm going to go on to what these videos I'm going to be making is all about. Well, just as a recap, and for those of you that didn't know, a couple of years ago I was diagnosed with heart failure, and the type of heart failure I had a very bad prognosis or outlook. About 50% of people with that kind of heart failure was expected to live 5 years, and the small percentage that make that to 5, about another 10 or 20%, had a small chance of making it to 10 years. That was a couple of years ago, and it all looked grim. Now, with heart failure, because the heart isn't providing the body with its required oxygen and blood supply and all the other things that the heart does, it did have a knock-on effect on my other internal organs. I developed diabetes, liver disease, and kidney disease, as well as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and all the other things associated with heart failure and heart conditions. Needless to say, over the next couple of years, those conditions deteriorated. I've now actually been diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which basically means my liver's filled itself with fat, so it's not working very well. I have some scarring with that called fibrosis, and about 25% to 30% of my liver is working at the moment. Livers are self-germinator, self-fixing, for want of a better word. Generating is the word I'm looking for, up to a certain point. The actual liver, I've got some scarring called fibrosis that will not ever fix, but if I can remove some of the fat from the decent part of my liver, hopefully that can improve a little bit further. So in the 10 months or so I've been off, I've been having lots of help from many hospital departments, cardiology for my heart conditions, hepatology for my liver conditions, chemical pathology for I have lipids with problem with cholesterols and blood fats, nephrology, I could never say that one, nephrology, that's for your kidneys, they're looking after my kidneys, and endocrinology for diabetes, because diabetes is also another thing I've been diagnosed with. So a lot of ologies have been looking after me, for want of a better word. I have been in a lot of clinical trials, a lot of new drugs for all of those conditions, and touching wood, which all I've got in there is wood, they seem to be having a good impact. So at the moment my prognosis is looking a little bit better, but that's not without a lot of help and a lot of conditions from those wonderful people and all those ologists out there that have been looking after me and trying new experimental drugs which seem to be having a good effect. Now, All of those conditions, heart conditions, diabetes, fatty liver, my lipids for my cholesterol and all of those, a lot of those are affected by weight. And unfortunately, because of my heart condition and all the other things, I've spent a lot of time not doing much. A lot of time recovering, recuperating, sitting down, very little exercise. And that's resulted on me putting on a few extra pounds around the old waistline. So, my new journey, my new battle at the moment, as well as all the other things, they've not gone away, but I am getting a lot of treatment. I've been prescribed Mounjaro. Now I'm doing a set of videos because this right now is a very popular topic. Mounjaro, for those who don't know, is a relatively new, couple of years old weight loss drug. It's just been able to be prescribed on the NHS for people which have a high body mass index and have 3 or 4 of the conditions which I've got. So I'm fortunate enough to get it prescribed on the NHS free of charge. The plan is if I lose weight, Mounjaro also helps with blood sugars, so it should help my diabetes, should help lose some of the fat from my liver to help my liver. Obviously, not being so heavy, not going to have such a strain on my heart. So, all in all, a bit of extra weight loss is going to do me some more extra good. The problem is, because of my heart conditions, I can't start the usual going to the gym, running a quarter of a mile or 2, or 3 or 4 miles even, or doing heavy weightlifting. So, I need a little extra help. It's basically dieting, some very light exercise, and the Mounjaro. I would like to take you on my journey for this one, because this is new, and I know there's a lot of people out there thinking about taking weight loss drugs for various reasons. I thought it might be interesting if I could bring you along and show you from the very beginning, from injection number 1. I shall bring you in my very first injection I have to self-inject, and you can follow me with my experience and how I get on. Also, I'm hoping that by blogging these, that you and the encouragement that I know you guys are going to give and support will also help me on my weight loss journey. So, how did this start? I went to a meeting with my consultant, the lipids clinic consultant for my high cholesterol and blood fats. He decided that it's time to try this. It will also help with everything else. So he said, I'll prescribe you Mounjaro. Now this is my experience. I'm not saying it's all the same. So he discussed what they are. There are a lot of side effects. You can get things like nausea, stomach disorders, diarrhea, constipation. But he also said with the diabetes side, I can get pancreatitis, which is a pretty bad inflammation of the pancreas. It can also affect the retinas on the back of your eyes, the diabetic retinal issues that you can get. It can exaggerate them, so I've got to watch out for my eyesight getting worse, or pains and vomiting and sickness in my stomach. But he also said you can get muscle wastage. So while I'm taking this, the food that I do eat, he advises to be higher in protein, more protein than anything else in the meals. And if I could sit on a chair and get a couple of little dumbbells, just do a little bit of weight lifting, not heavy stuff obviously, but a couple of light dumbbells, just so that I'm exercising the muscles, and try and do a little bit more walking. I was for a while quite disabled, and I was using a walking stick. Well, now with everything, all the treatments, I can sort of, for short distances, do away with the walking stick. So it's encouraged me to go out and do a little bit of walking to keep the muscle mass on my legs. So these are some of the preliminary warnings I've been told about and things to look out for. Then he says, I'm going to write you a prescription, take it to the pharmacy, and they'll dish you out the first month of Mounjaro. Apparently, these are injectable. He advised you can inject them into my stomach, into my thigh, or into the back of your arm, but not into the muscle. It needs to go into the fatty part of your body. my consultant, obviously your consultant might be different, advised the stomach. He said, for his experience, injecting into the stomach is the best option. So I will be injecting into my ample sized stomach. He then also issued, with the Mounjaro, I got issued a pack of needles, syringe needles. Very daunting. I've never injected anything before myself. And with those, a sharps bin, obviously for disposing of the needles once I've used them. Now, that was it. I says to him, I've never injected before. He said, don't worry, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. Now, I've had a lot of great help and a lot of wonderful treatment from all of those ologists and consultants and professionals, but he was the first one that just says go out and find the video on YouTube about using injections. I thought a bit weird, so they can't be that difficult. So I went away and I went and investigated YouTube, and sure enough, there are a lot of doctors and just general people showing you how to use the Mounjaro pre-filled pen. It is quite complex looking at it, so I'm surprised I didn't get any more help, and I'm a little bit worried that if I was an older person or somebody that wasn't very good at following instructions online, getting this wrong, I'm sure, could have quite bad side effects. There are 4 doses in each pen, and if I did something wrong, gave myself 2 or 3 doses, overdosed on it, I'm sure that wouldn't have been good. But luckily there's lots of videos out there, and I am going to be showing you my very first attempt at injecting my first dose. That's my plan. I want to make a series of blogs, and I'm going to let you follow me, my progress, my injections, my thoughts, my feelings. I'll tell you side effects that I'm experiencing. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell you medical advice. If you need medical advice, as always, go to your own GP, your own physician. Get proper medical advice. I am not claiming to be a medical person. I am a normal, middle-aged, getting fatter man with 4 of the requirements to get this issued on the NHS, and I'm just going to be documenting my own personal experiences, and in no way is that a medical diagnosis of anything that you may have. I want to get that straight from the start. If you've got concerns about any medical condition, please see your own consultant. Don't watch this video and think I am teaching. That's not the point. I am showing you my experience in case you guys have to follow a similar sort of path. So that's pretty much my introduction and what I want to do. I want to bring you along on my journey of injecting my needles, my syringes, my very first time ever experience of injecting myself with the pen. Bring you on that journey, and then also following over the next few months and up to a couple of years maybe. We'll see. I don't know how this is going to go. Hopefully the weight comes off quickly. I will, in a moment, I'll go and weigh myself, and I'll show you the scary figures so that you can be with me right from the very start. You'll know what I weigh at the start, and then as my journey progresses, hopefully you'll see each time I get on the scales, you'll see what I see, a reduction. The reduction should then hopefully extend my life a little better to maybe get to that 10-year mark, which right at the beginning of this very, very scary journey for me seemed impossible at the time. But I'm just, hopefully I can demonstrate that even with the absolute negative dire news which I had, or thought I had, that I only had a couple of years left to live, that can be changed with a lot of cardiologists and hepatologists and chemical pathologists and endocrinologists and all of those wonderful people that have helped me, and a lot of the new drugs and treatments out there. You can actually extend that prognosis, and I'm living proof, touch wood for now, of that. Obviously no one's got a crystal ball. My conditions are still there. The threat of early death is still there. But at the moment, things are looking a little bit better than what they did a couple of years ago, before all these ologists, I keep calling them that because there's so many of them, got involved and started using me as a laboratory rat, pretty much. A lot of people might say I'm a rat, and I always have been, but for now I'm a laboratory rat, and I'm very thankful for all these new drugs and treatments I've been receiving. So, with that in mind, I'm going to finish this little chat. Thank you for staying with me so long. I hope I haven't bored you too much. I'm going to go off now, and I'm going to scare you with my weight. I think it will only be right now. To the next stage, I'm going to film the scales as I stand on. Now, there are people bigger than me. There are people smaller than me. What I am. And it'll be a good indicator of what happens when you start Mounjaro. Oh, one thing I didn't say is the dosage increases. I was told you start off on the minimum dose, 2.5 milligrams for a month. Injections once a week for a month, 4 weeks, one syringe full. Then, if everything goes okay, the dosage is meant to increase. I believe you can go to 5 milligrams, 15 milligrams, and I think 20 milligrams is about the top, but it does increase 5, 10, 15, and you keep increasing once your body gets accustomed. So first off, I'm on the lowest dose, 2.5 milligrams, and once I've weighed myself, I'll bring you back after that, see how I get on with my very first injection into my stomach. So please follow me, follow my journey, and together we can find out what it's like to go on the weight loss drug. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to bring you back in a minute, as I said, to step on the scales. So see you in a couple of moments. And so here we are, right on front of the scales as promised. So let's just step on the scales and see my starting point. So we are looking at a touch over 17 stone. Now, about 2 years ago, before all my illnesses started, I was around 14 stone. For me, that looks about an ideal sort of weight. I look pretty healthy at 14 stone. So that's going to be my target. See if I can get back down to 14 stones. So this is the start of my journey. Please join me in my next video, where I shall be administering my first dose by injection of the Mounjaro. So for now, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button for future videos coming very soon. So thank you and goodbye.